Hey, it's Christy. I'm here today to talk about the importance of protein. So what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is we're going to talk about why is protein important, what protein does in the body, how you can get more of it, and what if I take in too much or what if I take in too little. So let's get started with why I believe that protein is so important. First of all, I know for me from past experience, when I first started my whole foods journey, my health journey, I didn't eat enough protein and I never really understood the importance of it. So now that I understand the importance and know why it is so good for your body and what it can do for your body and how it helps to preserve muscle, I make sure that I take in enough every single day. So one of the first things that I always ask my clients whenever they come to me is, how much protein are you eating? And generally, most of them don't know. And that's okay not to know because maybe you're not aware. And that's okay to not be aware. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to make you more aware of how important protein, now remember protein is a macronutrient, but how important that is to make sure you're getting enough in your daily nutrition. So with that, there's a few ways that you can measure, and we'll get to that at the end of this video. But first of all, let's talk about the importance of protein and why it is so important. So protein is important for building and maintaining your muscle. That is the biggest thing that I hope that you take away from this video is that it's important for muscle. So whenever you are working out, whenever you are doing any sort of workout, you do need that protein to help preserve what's called your muscle mass. So when you have adequate protein in your body, then your body takes from that protein versus taking from the muscle. So if you are doing maybe a lot of cardio workouts instead of weightlifting, whenever you do that cardio, it tends to burn. If it doesn't have anything else to take in, if it doesn't have protein circulating through the body, then it's going to start to break down that muscle tissue. And if you've built muscle in the past, you want to make sure you preserve it because that muscle is so important for our body. It's important to give us that toned look, and muscle is also important because when you build it up, it helps to increase your metabolism. So that's why muscle is so important, and eating protein is so important to maintain that muscle mass and to maintain that muscle within your body. So the next thing is protein helps replace worn out cells, and it also transports various substances throughout the body, and it aids in growth and repair. So protein, the third thing, and the second most important thing to maintaining muscle mass is protein keeps you satiated. So it makes you feel fuller for a longer period of time. So basically it helps you eat less without feeling so hungry. And it's funny because I just read a study and it talked about that people that doubled their protein intake from what they were currently taking in consumed almost 400 less calories per day. And if you know me, I'm all about energy balance. I always talk about energy balance, which is calories in should equal calories out for you to maintain your weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you increase your protein, not only will it help preserve your muscle mass, but increasing protein is going to make you feel fuller longer. And there is the possibility that you're going to take in less or consume less calories throughout the day. So it's a win-win, preserves muscle and it helps you feel full longer. Now, what are like I said, that's what protein does. So now we're going to move into what are ways to get more protein. So there's several different ways. You can take it in through chicken, through any type of meat, ground beef. You can take it in through pork. Eggs have protein in it. Dairy has protein in it. And you also can look at, if you're a vegan or vegetarian, you can take it in through beans. Beans have protein in them. Peas have protein. Tofu, tempeh. There's multiple ways that you can find to include more protein into your daily diet. So you can also take it in through protein powders. Now, I suggest getting it in through more whole foods first, but you can supplement with protein powders or even protein bars or things like that. But most importantly, you want most of your protein intake to come from a food source. Another way you can make sure you're getting enough is to try to make sure you get enough at every single meal. So you want to look at getting protein in at breakfast, you want to make sure you're getting some in at lunch, and you want to make sure that you're taking in some at dinner, and if possible, a snack. So now next, we need to know what ways that we can measure to see if we're getting enough protein in our daily intake. And one way, you can measure it on a scale. You can do a scale weight. You can just eyeball it by looking at the palm of your hand. And for most people, and it's like one palm size portion for men or for women, that's usually about 4 to 6 ounces. And you use your own palm, and it's going to be this part of your palm. And that's how you can kind of eyeball and see if you're taking in enough protein. Now, next you're going to be asking me, well, how much should I be taking in? 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight is just kind of one of the guidelines. It's an average guideline. So what you can do is you can take your weight and multiply it by 0.7, or you can multiply it anywhere in between up to 1 gram per pound of your body weight. Now, if you're a little heavier and you have more weight to lose, you might want to choose the lower end. Or sometimes people take their realistic or ideal body weight, something that they would like to weigh, and they multiply it by 1, and that gives you your protein total. So for someone who weighed 100 pounds and they wanted to take in 1 gram of protein per pound, it would be 100 grams of protein. So what are some ways that you can get in more protein? So first of all, let's look at, you need to monitor. First of all, you need to see how much you're actually taking in a day. And you can do that per a scale, or you can use your hand and use those portions like what we talked about a bit ago. And then also, one more thing you need to be aware of is if you have any history of a kidney disease, or if you have anything that is happening with your kidneys in general, maybe you see a specialist, you need to make sure you talk to your doctor first before you would increase your protein if you have a history of any issues with your kidney. Otherwise, if you still want to check with your physician before you would add on any protein, then that's perfectly fine too. But just be aware that people with a history of kidney disease can have a hard time processing more protein whenever they add it in. And one more important thing to note is when you're increasing your protein, you want to do it gradually. You don't want to take in a lot all at one time, because it can cause some bloating and it can cause some constipation. So just make sure you do it gradually whenever you do add more protein. But just remember, the thing that I most want you to take away from this video is that protein is important for building and maintaining your muscle, and that the more you take in, the more full you will feel over time.